My sister-in-law demanded I leave my own home during her baby shower. Am I wrong for venting to her husband? For the last 3 years, I have been married. Although my husband has been living away from home for work, my spouse and I have been together for 5 years. He returns home every other weekend to spend time with us, and we're doing the long-distance thing. Shortly before he left, we purchased our own home a few months ago. It's a lovely location near my parents' home, so it's convenient for me to see them and for them to visit me. It's quite spacious and has beautiful architecture, which is perfect for me because I adore the feeling of living alone. I love living in this lovely home in a fantastic neighborhood. I got a lot of praise when I hosted my housewarming party. My sister-in-law, Olivia, was the one who seemed to like the place the best out of everyone. She was gushing about it nonstop. Although we are not close friends, Olivia and I have always gotten along well. I immediately said yes when she asked if she could have her baby shower at my house. I agreed for a few reasons. Despite the fact that we are not close, I didn't want to say no to her because she is pregnant. I also thought it would be wonderful to meet new people and have a change of environment because I spend a lot of time alone. For the event, I even took a day off. She insisted on holding the baby shower at my house because I had such a lovely home and didn't want to spend a lot of money renting a location. Though smaller and less striking, her home was nonetheless pleasant. Her flattery must have been effective since I was unable to say no. Furthermore, she had always been kind to me, so I had no excuse to say no. I had no idea what was going to happen. She made no hint that I wouldn't be welcomed. During the planning phase, everything involved me. For the past few weeks, she has come to see me virtually every day to go over the specifics, including the cuisine, decor, and catering. I was looking forward to the occasion and believed that this would strengthen our relationship. I assisted the decorators in setting up the venue on the day of the event. Olivia arrived about an hour before the guests were scheduled to arrive and thanked me for everything. She talked to me like a friend and behaved normally. But 15 minutes before the guests were expected to arrive, she asked me where I would want to spend the next couple of hours. I was surprised and assumed she was kidding. It was my house, after all, and I had expected to be there. I had purchased a gift for her and dressed appropriately. When I inquired, she genuinely responded that she wasn't joking. She made a few seemingly good arguments that I hadn't thought of because I was too busy assisting her. Olivia informed me that I wasn't even on the guest list and hadn't gotten an invitation. To be honest, I was aware of that, but didn't mind because I assumed I would be invited and included in the celebration. Ultimately, I had assisted in organizing it and was letting her use my home without requiring her to pay for a location. Given that Olivia and I didn't have a particularly strained relationship, I believe that anyone in my situation would have made the same assumption. Why in the world would I think I wouldn't be attending the event? She apologized for the mistake after I informed her just that. She said that because I'm a banker and not a party or event planner, she had assumed that I was assisting her in a professional capacity, which was absurd. Her presumption was absurd. I guess my face was a reflection of how upset I was because she told me she didn't want to argue. She maintained that since she was pregnant, she didn't want to become stressed out. Thus, now wasn't the time for small-minded arguments. She then informed me that I had to leave because only her personal family and close friends were invited to the occasion. Regrettably, I didn't make the cut for what was meant to be a small, private event. Because she didn't want to start a commotion, she requested me to leave before the visitors arrived. This is when I got angry. I didn't know where else to go, so I stormed out of the room and headed to the backyard. I attempted to phone my husband to voice my displeasure with his sister's actions, but he was unable to answer due to work obligations. Because I was frustrated and needed to vent, I decided to do something unconventional. I called her husband, David. David is a reserved, quiet individual. Although I haven't had much contact with him, he has been married to Olivia for 2 years and has been with her for 4. I went on a tirade about how disappointed and wounded I was as I told him everything. He was quiet for a long time after I was done. I told him that I felt unable to speak to Olivia directly without running the danger of offending a pregnant woman, and I apologized for venting to him. I hoped he might be able to talk her out of it. David's apology on her behalf made me feel less anxious. He said that would be ridiculous, so I really didn't need to leave my own home. He urged me to wait and promised to come over in a few minutes because he didn't want Olivia and me to get into a heated disagreement. David showed up before any of the visitors, as promised. I entered the house when the doorbell rang, and the 3 of us stood in the living room. When Olivia saw him, she was obviously shocked. David forcefully stepped in and assured me that there was no reason for me to leave and that I could attend the baby shower. When Olivia attempted to object, David gave her a stern look, so she remained silent. She continued to glare at me the rest of the time. I decided I was never going to talk to her again. I even thought about calling off the baby shower, but I decided against it. I didn't want all of the work I had put into organizing the event to go in vain. In addition, I didn't feel the need to cancel once David showed up, and I didn't have the heart to do so either. I made the decision to give the evening its due and to cut off any communication with Olivia after it ended. I remained dignified and graceful the entire time, but I couldn't say the same about her. After the baby shower ended, David apologized to me once again for everything, but Olivia wouldn't even look at me. David also expressed regret about that, as I was getting needless hostility from her. It was annoying to see her think I didn't belong at the gathering and that I had pushed my way in. Finally, the agony was over, at least. I contacted my husband after they departed and filled him in on everything. He was furious and wanted to talk to his sister, even though I told him not to, at least not that night. I didn't want more arguments and thought it would only make things worse. All I needed was some quiet. But for me, serenity wasn't in the cards. My in-laws called me the following morning, and they were really upset. They informed me that Olivia and David got into a heated argument when they got home from the baby shower. David had made the decision to leave and was not talking to Olivia or any of her relatives, including my in-laws. This was startling because David had always gotten along well with his in-laws, who were his parents' longtime family friends. Following the altercation, David's whole family made it apparent that they didn't want to communicate with Olivia and her family by blocking them on social media and elsewhere. Olivia and my in-laws seemed to think that if I had simply sucked it up and followed Olivia's instructions, none of this would have occurred. I could see why I was being pulled into it, but the fact that they were attempting to place the responsibility on me while Olivia was clearly at fault struck me as ridiculous. I snapped at them, telling them that I wouldn't accept responsibility for something that wasn't my fault. Olivia had shown no gratitude. She humiliated me by informing me I couldn't attend an event in my own home, even though I had kindly let her host the baby shower for free at my house. She wanted me to go because she didn't think I was close enough to her family. I informed them that Olivia wouldn't have dared to do this if my husband had been around. I also assured them that I didn't regret telling David about her actions since he was the only sensible person in the circumstance. I trusted David's judgment and knew he was making the proper choice if he decided he had had enough and wanted to leave. I didn't think I had done anything wrong, and I didn't think David was doing anything wrong, so I wasn't going to try to make things right. He had my support if he desired a divorce. I had no intention of contacting him or retracting anything. My in-laws would be dissatisfied if they called to beg me to talk to him and make this right since I wouldn't do it. I hung up after saying that. They have been making every effort to get me to reply, but we haven't spoken since. I'm thinking about blocking them, even though I haven't done so yet. They keep claiming that any issues were between Olivia and me, so I had no justification for including David in this. I don't see their reasoning. I chose to inform Olivia's husband about it, even if it was just between us. I thought he should be aware, as he is also a member of the family. Considering how terrible she was acting and how unappreciative she had been, I don't think I did anything wrong by telling him. I trusted that her husband, being sensible, would deal with it properly, so I thought he should know. Despite their best efforts to control the situation and make me feel guilty, I don't feel guilty at all. They keep claiming that her child might not have a father figure in their life as a result of my choice. They're framing it that way, but I believe it's a stretch. I'm not even sure how to react to that. Even though my spouse doesn't believe I did anything wrong, their comments are making me doubt myself, which is the only reason I haven't blocked them yet. He has informed me that he will speak with his parents to help them see that Olivia was to blame, not me. He feels that rather than targeting me, they ought to concentrate on helping her. I don't know how to respond to this. Although I don't feel sorry for them, their actions suggest that they won't be letting this go anytime soon. All I want is for this to end. I don't currently have any answers because I also don't know why Olivia behaved in that manner. Am I to blame for bringing up our disagreement with my sister-in-law's husband and letting him know how she acted? First update. Nearly a week has passed since the baby shower. David and Olivia are currently going through a final divorce. He made the big news announcement on social media, but she hasn't made any public comments. Although I didn't anticipate it happening so quickly, it appears that he has already filed the petition and that the proceedings will shortly begin. They have been living apart since David returned to living with his parents. Even though I wasn't sure whether it was proper after everything that had transpired, I was able to talk to David. Although I felt a little bad about it, my spouse recommended that someone in our family get in touch. David was obviously keeping the lines of communication open for us, because we were the only two individuals he had not blocked. I made the decision to call him. I didn't present it as an apology when I told him I was sorry for all that was going on. I did say that I was generally sorry for everything. I suppose David could sense my shame in spite of it. He gave me his word that I didn't have to feel bad about it or hold myself responsible. He claimed to have been on edge for a while. I felt I needed answers, so after some trepidation, I texted him back to find out what was actually happening, and boy, did I get them. When we got on the phone, I told him I wanted to learn more. He agreed that I deserved some explanation, so he told me why Olivia didn't want me at the baby shower. The only explanation she gave, as best as I can tell, was that she only wanted her immediate relatives present. She had, however, invited a number of people who, as far as I knew, weren't very close to her. I was aware that some of the guests on the guest list didn't appear to be any closer to her than I was. Since I had nothing against anyone on the list, and as far as I knew, no one had anything against me, it didn't make sense that I wasn't on it. David disclosed Olivia's true reason for not wanting me there. One of her pals, whom she was making a valiant effort to impress, was supposed to be there. This friend had wed into a family of rich industrialists. Olivia intended to launch her own venture a few months after the birth of her child, so she sought to persuade her friend's husband to invest in her business. Olivia had planned the baby shower in my place to impress this buddy, telling everyone it was hers. She obviously couldn't keep up that lie with me around. She wanted me out for that reason. She hadn't expected me to refuse to go and to stand my position. Fortunately for me, her friend was sick and was unable to attend the occasion. This did not, however, excuse Olivia's cunning actions. When they arrived home, David confronted Olivia about what she had said to me. She acknowledged that she wanted me to remain away in order to impress her buddy and avoid admitting that the house wasn't hers. She went out of her way to pretend she had a life she didn't in order to impress someone she went to school with, acting as though her deceit was completely normal. David informed her that her behavior was unacceptable and that she needed to apologize to me. He pointed out that rather than being grateful that I had allowed her to organize the event at my house, she had made fun of me. Olivia fought with David because she wouldn't accept that what she had done was wrong. This arrogant conduct had been causing them a lot of issues, and it seems that this wasn't the first time she had been found pretending to be someone she wasn't. David informed me that it seems they had been coping with such problems for a few years. She underwent a transformation shortly after they were married. Ever since their wedding, she had been attempting to live above their means and present an illusion of luxury and money to impress unimportant people. Her friends reportedly made disparaging remarks about the arrangements at her wedding, and it looked that she was deeply offended by such remarks. She is an adult, though, and shouldn't be influenced by such trivial matters. If those individuals made fun of her way of life or her financial situation, she ought to have taken them out of her life, as they weren't true friends. Furthermore, she and David led a regular, pleasant life. It's not like they were impoverished. They might not be able to afford luxury, but they were doing well, and it didn't matter to anyone else. Olivia didn't have to make an impression. Olivia works at a marketing firm and hopes to launch her own business after the baby is born, while David is a real estate agent. She has much greater justification to save money rather than squander it on pointless items. Despite their lack of wealth, their stability and comfort should have been sufficient. David had made numerous attempts to convey this to Olivia, but it had never been successful. She was constantly making an effort to impress others by doing odd things, which led to constant issues between them. David had forgiven it throughout the years because he loved her. In recent months, though, he had found it more difficult to put up with. They needed to be more frugal because they were expecting a kid, but Olivia kept squandering money carelessly as though it didn't matter. Given their financial circumstances, this was particularly troublesome because they were unable to support the lifestyle she was attempting to attain. David was getting fed up with her continuing to buy things without asking his permission too often. They had been fighting over things like this. David departed after the altercation at the baby shower because he could no longer stand it. He informed me that considering the status of their marriage, he would have made this choice sooner or later, even if I hadn't called him that day. He told me I didn't have to feel bad about what I did. I talked to my husband about this, and although he was sorry for Olivia, He couldn't claim that it wasn't justified. Although David was not a close friend, we were aware that he had been Olivia's devoted spouse. We assumed he must have given it some thought if he chose to go. I do feel awful for Olivia, especially because she is pregnant, but she caused this for herself. How a mature woman worries so much about the views of a few vapid, gossipy, inconsequential pals is beyond me. She should have moved on from this high school conduct long ago. She is in her 30s. I'm hoping that they can work things out and decide what they want. I believe that David will benefit from some time away in order to make the best decision. Whether that means getting back together or finalizing the divorce, I hope they can resolve their differences. David sounded unhappy when we spoke. Even though he had already announced the divorce, he was interested in trying to make things right and give Olivia another shot. But it appears that he is finding it quite difficult to do so because of her stubbornness. Although this may be a contentious viewpoint, I believe they ought to at least attempt to resolve the conflict. Given that her behavior is out of character for someone in her 30s, not 40s as mistakenly mentioned in the original text, Olivia might want to think about going to therapy. It is not sustainable or healthy to try to please unimportant people, particularly for the benefit of their child. I want things to work out. It's never easy to be a kid of divorce, and I wouldn't want my future niece or nephew to experience that. I will no longer become involved in this since I feel like I have nothing else to say to Olivia and my in-laws. I intend to block them both. I'm praying for the best and avoiding all of this for the time being. My spouse has made the same decision. My husband is returning home this weekend, so we are getting together. I don't believe he intends to go see his folks this time. All I can say is that I'm glad I have nothing to feel bad about anymore. Second update. We've been chatting since my spouse got back a few hours ago. He informed me that he had been in communication with David for the past few days. David has stated that he is prepared to give his marriage another try, provided Olivia accepts his apology for everything and consents to attend therapy. My husband is attempting to explain this to his sister, but she has not yet replied. According to his parents, Olivia is currently avoiding people because she is sad and needs some alone time right now. She seems to be getting the distance she needs from everyone. I hope she makes a sensible decision, but I have no idea what she will decide. Some people accused me of selfishness in relation to my last piece, claiming that my husband and I were being avaricious by refusing to assist David and Olivia. Let me start by saying that I have no idea how anyone came to that conclusion. We purchased this home because it was reasonably priced. We wouldn't have bought it if it had been too expensive. Second, David and Olivia's financial situation is secure. Since my husband and I share a similar income, they have no reason to require our assistance, and vice versa. They wouldn't likely enjoy it if we treated them like they were in need of charity. Although it's unrelated, I felt compelled to clarify because some people raised it. I was also chastised by several of you for expressing a desire for them to reconcile. You think David deserves better, and perhaps he does, but in the end, it's up to him. I don't understand why so many people who don't even know David feel the need to call me names, spew venom, and brand him a doormat. Despite their present problems, they still love one another, and they are soon to become parents. That is significant. They cannot simply leave one another and pretend that nothing occurred. Yes, I did, and I still hope they can resolve their differences. For now, I believe that's all I have to say. Third update. I just wanted to let you know that David and Olivia have made the decision to work on their marriage and patch things up. It has been a few weeks since my last report. Even though Olivia and I are still at odds, I'm quite delighted for them. According to my spouse, they have decided to attend marital therapy for a few months to see the results. They will continue to live apart for the time being. Once the baby is born, they intend to co-parent for the first several months. If all goes according to plan, they will return to living together. That is the future strategy. I know that this isn't the result that many of you were hoping for since most people seem to want David to leave Olivia, but I'm pleased for them. Everyone else will have to recognize that David has made the decision to act in his own best interests. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.